Alright everyone, welcome to the third and final part of Ask the King for January 2016. I just want to remind everyone, if you want to post up a question for next month's episode, please do so on the kingofhate.com forums. There's already a spot there for next month's episode, and if I remember correctly, it's tentatively set for March 3rd, so a little over a month after today, okay? Alright, let's finish up everyone's questions. So the first question of this part, this is a good one. So, hey Phil, I have a rather personal question for you. My entire life I've been striving to achieve professional and personal success. From an infant age all the way through college, my parents and society have instilled in me that I must be successful. But now, fast forward to the age of 28. I'm working in Manhattan, I have the job of my dreams, and fortunate enough to be making a great salary. Oddly enough, I feel more lost than ever. Your entire life, you have this goal for striving for success. But I feel let down because once you reach it, there's not much left to go on from here. I know it's the ultimate first world problem, but I still feel so lost. What do you think I should focus on my life, What do you think I should focus my life on professionally? I feel more and more complacent every single day that goes by. In short, I feel that life is training you to get success, but doesn't teach you on what to actually do when you have it. Alright, that question is from Zyphos. Wow, that is quite the, I'm going to be honest, that's one of the most insightful questions I think I've ever received on Ask the King, so thank you for that. And it actually made me think a little bit, because it's absolutely true. You know, when you're younger, especially if you live in the United States, I don't know how it is in other countries, so obviously I got to give you from my personal perspective. When you live in the United States and you're coming up and you're growing up, first thing, your parents want you to have some kind of a job in mind when you're a little kid, which is ridiculous, right? Then when you're in high school, it's all about you got to study, you got to make the grades so you can get into a good college. When you're in a good college, you got to study, you got to make the grade, you got to make those social connections when you're in college so that you can get into an internship or you can get into a decent job out of college. Once you're out of college, now you got to strive, you got to break your back, you got to do real well wherever you're working and just grin and bear it and tough your way through it, work the long hours, you know, kill yourself basically so you can get to that upper level where finally when you're hitting maybe around your late 20s, early 30s, you're in a career job where you're making good money, where you've got a career path ahead of you, where you feel like you're going to be successful and stable in your job for the rest of your life. Yeah, but what about everything else? And the bottom line is that, you know, money and financial security and success ain't everything. You know what I mean? There's other things to life. Friendship, right? Hobbies, romance, relationships with people of either the opposite or same sex, depending on what your personal configuration is. And by the way, I do believe that it is a personal configuration, not necessarily a preference. And a lot of people are now going to say, oh, Phil, fuck you. I don't care, whatever. My fucking belief system, not yours. But yeah, there's more to life. Ugh, hair in my mouth. There's more to life than just financial success. Honestly, although it's funny because when you're a kid, that seems to be all that's instilled in you from your parents and your schools and everything around you is that, right? And my honest belief is this. It really is because it's a system that wants you to get into the system to let the system continue to work. So when you're in high school, well, I mean, you got to go to the best schools, right? You got to pay money to go to a private school or a better school so that the school makes tons of money, but so you could go to the better college. So then you're paying tons of money to go to this college so that you could get your college degree so that then you can finally get to that corporation where you bust your ass and you're not getting paid as much as you're worth so that finally you could get to that upper echelon tier. And you see what I mean? The whole system ingrains in you from your childhood that you need to be successful, but doesn't explain why, doesn't really explain anything about anything else in life, just says you need to be successful. But what did you do? You paid tons of money to private schools, you busted your ass and earned tons of money for a corporation, and now here you are, 28 years old, you're successful in New York, you're like, but what do I really have, right? It's kind of funny, because Notch, the maker of Minecraft, when he sold Minecraft for the bajillion dollars or whatever to Microsoft, all of a sudden he started tweeting on social media really almost depressing messages like, man, you know, life is so different now. I'm filthy rich, but now it's hard for me to even tell if anyone who's my friend is my friend, and no one really prepares you for this kind of success in life when you reach this upper echelon of existence. You know, what am I supposed to do with my time and my money? Because I have all this and I don't really have, you know, anything to do. And, you know, again, people who want to associate with him, he doesn't know if he can trust them or if they're just there to try to mooch off of his money and his success. It's funny. Where is the archetype for people who get successful on how to cope with it, and also what else is important in life? Because it seems to me, at least from what the stuff Notch has been tweeting, that he doesn't have a lot of people who he considers close personal friends. The people who were supposedly his close personal friends ended up being left behind or don't want to associate with him anymore because he is so successful. You know what I mean? Like, the jealousy ruined that friendship. And what does he really have in life? You know, now I don't know too much about Notch. I mean, I don't know if he has a wife or kids or whatever. But, you know, for me personally, a lot of people ask me this question. They say, Phil, would you ever have kids? And the answer is, I mean, yeah, I would consider it. But the bottom line is, it would be so irresponsible for me to consider it because I'm not in the position of this person who asked me the question. I'm not financially stable. Right now, things could go crazy but wrong. YouTube could close down overnight and I have zero income. I just had my contract renegotiated with Machinima, and I have no idea if I'm going to even be able to do YouTube full-time for the next year. I don't know. Everything is up in the air and uncertain. Now, imagine if I have a kid. Now, how am I going to promise that kid a stable life where I'm going to be able to take care of them and pay for things and raise them and give them a safe and fair environment and the same things that other children around them have? When in reality, I don't even have a real stable income, right? That would be very irresponsible of me. So for me, the whole thought of raising a family outside of just myself and my girlfriend Leanna is kind of out of the question right now. It sounds to me like you, Zyphos, are in a position where you are financially stable, things are looking up, but now you're kind of lost because you focus so much on getting to that point that you didn't work on anything else. You didn't build social relationships and friend networks. You don't have a significant other. At least that's what I'm kind of understanding here from this. Now, also, it seems to me like what you're saying is, well, I've reached a point in my job where there's really nothing else to strive for. You know what I mean? He's at the top level where he can be. That's okay, because there's other things you can do in life. You could go off and do charity work. You could go off and get hobbies. You could try to strive for success and or achievement in other areas. And a lot of people who do find success in one area then try to venture out and do other things. How many successful actors then try to become directors, right? How many successful people in the entertainment industry become producers because they have the money to now produce cool stuff, right? Now, I have absolutely no idea what the job situation is, what your job is, because you didn't hint at that in the question. But what I would say is, if you really feel you've reached the epitome of success in what you're doing, try to do something else that's maybe a little bit more outside the box. I'm not saying give up what you're doing, but maybe you want to try a hobby or something different. Try to get a friend network going. Again, I don't know if you have a significant other or not. Maybe think about raising a family. You're 28 years old. Now's the perfect time, the next few years, to start planning out if you're going to have a family and stuff. Because right now I'm 33, and I'm starting to realize, you know, sadly, people ask me over the years I've been doing YouTube, will I ever have a family? I'm like, it's starting to be that age where if I don't have a kid in the next, say, 10 years, I won't be able to raise him. I'll be too old. So really right now, it's kind of, for me, I'm in a situation where I don't even have that flexibility. It sounds to me like you do have that flexibility. So those maybe should be the things that you focus on. You want to maybe diversify yourself from the thing that you're doing at your job. But at the same time, I actually agree with you. I feel that in America, we have an institution based off of spend money, spend money, spend money, work your ass off, give your blood and soul and sweat and tears to the corporations, because it's almost a cycle that feeds itself. Instill these ideals in our kids so that all they care about is going to the expensive schools, going to the getting that big degree, killing your ass for the corporation, and then here you are. Well, I'm 30 years old and I'm successful. What do I really have for it? Because really, it was just to feed back into those corporations, right? I'm just saying. All right, next question is from Gaspin Geckos, and he says, in regards to your new 3-channel business plan, I have to ask, if KOGaming becomes more popular than your other channels, will you start putting more focus on it than the other channels? Like, will it become your primary channel? Well, here's the thing. The 3-channel focus that I have right now, the reason that I think that it's cool is because up to now, let's be very honest here, 95% of what I'm focused on is raw gameplay. Every day, either on stream or off, me sitting here with a controller in my hand on this love seat, playing through a game, doing live commentary, and recording gameplay, and then uploading it to YouTube. Now, there's other things that come from that, like my game reviews, like the weekend preview, like other vlogs and stuff, but that's the very minor focus. So right now, as of until maybe 2 weeks ago, That's the reality of the situation, all right? And let's face it, YouTube has changed. The business model changed. 90% of viewers on YouTube don't want to watch a full raw playthrough anymore. They want to see something highly edited. They want to see the best of. They want to see funny comedy stuff. They don't have the time to sit there for 7-8 hours and watch a game playthrough. And I understand that, which is why I've now diversified myself with these 3 channels. But here's the thing, and here's why I actually think the 3-channel model works. Vlogging, gameplay, edited content of gameplay and gaming. Why does that work? It's very simple. KOGaming explodes. Wow, KOGaming super popular, right? Guess what? I can't not do DSP gaming. Why? Because I still need to do the raw gameplay. I still need to play through the games to get the footage for the game reviews and those montages and the best moments. If I don't play the game raw on DSP Gaming, how would I have any footage to draw upon for KOGaming? Now, I'm fully aware that there's tons of people out there. One person that everyone references is Angry Joe. They're like, Phil, are you aware that Angry Joe, he's not a Let's Player. Yeah, he every once in a while does a live stream, but he basically was known and made his internet presence known for his edited game reviews and rants and stuff, where it's him talking in front of a camera with game footage integrated, but he doesn't show the raw stuff. Yeah, and he became incredibly popular based off of that. But here's the thing. He still plays the games behind the scenes, right? Just that he doesn't share that with everyone. Well, what's the difference if I keep sharing it with everyone or I don't? It's not like I'm going to save time not sharing the raw stuff, right? So I'm going to continue on DSP Gaming to do the raw stuff. And even if KOGaming becomes 7 times more popular than DSP Gaming, I still have to do the raw stuff. So that dedicated fan base who's been there since day one, technically, it's impossible for me to abandon you. I will always be here for you, doing the raw stuff, the gameplay streams, the on-demand gameplay content. If that's the formula that you grew up with, that's the formula that you love because that's what you knew me for so many years, it's not going to go anywhere. It technically, physically could not go anywhere. It has to exist. But yeah, maybe I would focus a little bit more on KOGaming and put more time into it. Right now, I'm finding gameplay is still half my day, and then the other half of the day is either vlogging or the KOGaming stuff. I don't know how that's going to change in the future. Maybe it'll be mostly gameplay and KOGaming and then once or twice a week a vlog. That could be too, but right now it seems to be a pretty fair balance, and the bottom line is DSP Gaming can't go away with this current formula, and I like that. I don't want to abandon those people who made me successful to begin with. Okay. Next question is from Chaotic Deluge. And he says, Phil, I'm a curious guy. Final Fantasy is my favorite video game series personally, and I know that how you feel about the majority of them. I agree on most of your points. I know that you feel quite strongly for Final Fantasy 4 and 6, and especially strongly... I know you feel quite strongly for Final Fantasy, and for 4 and 6 especially strongly. I read that incorrectly. What is your opinion on Final Fantasy 5? As 5 and 9 are my personal favorites in the series, I'd like your opinion on 9 too, but I understand you're yet to play that particular entry. Although it seems like you've played 5 before, I can't recall you saying any more about anything but knowing the character's name. By the way, his name's Butts. Yeah, the main character's name is Butts. Thanks, and keep up the good work. Final Fantasy 5. Final Fantasy 5 took the graphics and a lot of some of the game mechanics from Final Fantasy 4. And they turned it into, or they combined that with some of the class-based gameplay from previous Final Fantasy games. So for those of you who haven't played the classic Final Fantasies, there was 1 or 2 of them early on where you could have a class. Your character could be any class. So you could be a red mage, a white mage, a black mage, a warrior, a monk, a knight, a dragoon, all these different classes. And each class that you change your character to gains new abilities and new things. And eventually, the thing that I really like is sometimes you can make a custom ability set where you can have a really powerful physical attack, but then you could use magic too. And I like those hybrid classes that eventually you could create. A lot of that was lost when in later Final Fantasy games, such as Final Fantasy IV, your character is basically the same thing throughout the whole game. You know, Cecil, he starts out as a Dark Knight, later on he's a Paladin, but that's all he's ever going to be. Kain is always going to be a Dragoon. Rosa's always going to be a White Mage. So yeah, you'll get better abilities in those classes, but you'll never be able to switch it up. Final Fantasy V, you start out in a class, your main characters start out in a class, but then you could change those classes later, and you could actually customize your characters based off of that. And I really liked that about the game. The customization options in the game were excellent, in my opinion. And in fact, it adds to even more replayability, because let's face it, Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy VI, yes, to some extent in 6 you could equip the different espers, and because of that, the magicites, you could actually have like all the magic, but ultimately your character only has like one unique ability or whatever. Final Fantasy IV is the same. You can never really break out of that archetype. Final Fantasy V, the more you play it, you can actually completely customize your character, which is awesome. And it has just as much content, secret bosses and stuff as Final Fantasy IV. Final Fantasy V is a great game. I just thought narrative-wise, the story wasn't nearly as good as 4 or 6 is. I thought that what they did, they tried to focus more on that core gameplay mechanic of being able to completely customize your character however you want. And by doing that, they kind of let way a little bit with the story. I felt that the stories of 4 and 6 were much better than the story of 5. In fact, the main character, Butts, of 5, I really never had any attachment to. He's kind of like a silent protagonist who really doesn't do much. And take a look at 4 and 6, where every character is unique and has their own backstory, and Butts is just kind of a generic archetype that I didn't really enjoy. So 5, I would say, out of the classic Final Fantasies, is probably my third favorite. I'd say 6 is my favorite, 4 is my second favorite, and 5 is kind of like right under there. And then we've got some other ones, like 7 is probably right under there. I do like the originals, although the originals are kind of bare bones with the story. And yeah, he's right. I've never played 9. I seriously have never played Final Fantasy 9. I played it for a couple hours once, emulated, and then the emulator stopped working, and I never played it. I would definitely like to play it, and in fact, do I have that as a question? Because I remember I thought I had it. Further on, this was someone from Facebook. They said, Phil, are you aware Final Fantasy IX is getting a re-release on the PC and mobile platforms later this year? This is the game I've been eagerly anticipating the most for you to start. Are you going to do a playthrough or make it as an option on your Patreon? That's from Eric Gardner. I would love to play Final Fantasy IX. I've never effing played it. It would be a cold playthrough, and I would love to do that. So if it is actually coming out, if there's a PC upgraded HD port of it on Steam or whatever, I would definitely 100% consider playing it. Of course, I don't know the release timing. That's really the question here. When is the release timing? Is it during the summer months when nothing's going on, or is it during the hardcore gaming season when there's literally no time to play it? That'll determine if and when I play it. Okay, so hopefully there's more info soon. I'd love to play Final Fantasy IX. All right, this next question is from Slayer, and Slayer says, Phil, I'm a longtime viewer since 2011, and I've enjoyed your content ever since. Recently, you played Yakuza 5, and you've been commenting on the Japanese pop songs in the Haruka section. My question is, will you enjoy a song even if it's in a different language, like Japanese pop, and give it a listen? Also, have you heard of Korean pop or K-pop? If yes, what are your thoughts on it? I would appreciate if you could answer this question, and I would like to hear your thoughts on it. Yeah, I am open-minded. If I hear a song that I like, even if I don't understand the lyrics, I'll still like it. And the bottom line is anime has opened my eyes a big way with some of the anime series that I've watched over the years, the anime intros and stuff, the music that they play. I love some of it. Some of the ones from, what was it, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I thought was really awesome music, and I really enjoyed some of the music from that series. So, yeah, I mean, just freaking, dude, some of the music, what was it, the one that we were just watching? Attack on Titan. I like the music from that too. So, you know, the thing is, here's the thing with pop music. Most of it is fluff. Most of it doesn't mean shit. Pop music, a lot of the times, is written. It doesn't have meaning behind it. It's not like there was some fucking musician who really had to bear their soul on paper, and so they had to write down these really meaningful lyrics. Pop music, a lot of the times, really doesn't. It's just fluff. It's a manufactured music. At least in the United States, huge. It's manufactured music that has no fucking meaning behind it. So, if that's the case, does it really matter what the lyrics mean? No. I do have an open mind when it comes to music in that regard. I like a lot of the music from Yakuza 5. It's like the pop music that Haruka's playing and stuff. It's kind of catchy. I like, in Japan, they love guitars. Like, they play electric guitar in every fucking song. Solos and shit. And you're like, wow. K-pop, Korean pop, not really. I haven't really been exposed too much to it, simply because there's not really Korean anime, you know what I mean, and Korean video games, so I've had no real exposure to it. So in that answer is really no, I don't really have any thoughts on it because I don't have any experience in it to speak of. All right, we're in the home stretch, everyone. The next question is from the doctor, and the doctor says, I don't know if you've even talked about this yet, but the Nintendo NX, you know, is now in development, might be coming out soon. I want to ask your opinion on it, and do you have confidence that Nintendo can succeed with this one, or do you think it's going to be good for about a year or so, and then it'll become a paperweight like the Wii U? You know what? Let's be fair here before I even start answering the question. The Wii U in the past couple of years has been a much better console, with games emerging at like Smash Brothers and, excuse me, and in the past year, Splatoon was really good. Mario Maker was an exceptionally good game. Definitely, you know, some upcoming games like Twilight Princess. HD is probably going to be a pretty big seller. And, of course, the new Star Fox coming out. There have been, in the past 2 years, some pretty decent games for the console. But ultimately, you're absolutely right. If you're not playing the first-party stuff for Wii U, you're not playing the Wii U because there's nothing for it. All right? So I understand what the doctor is trying to say here. I'm going to be honest with everyone. I'm not really following the NX because there's no solid info. There's all these rumors, right? It's going to be more powerful. It's not going to be as powerful as common consoles. Oh, it's not meant to compete with the other consoles. Maybe it is meant to compete. Will it have a gimmick? Will it not have a gimmick? Everything I've heard about the Nintendo NX is fucking speculation. Nintendo has not had a press conference where they said, here is the NX. Here's what it does. Here's what we're doing with it. Here's the price tag. When that day happens and I hear what they have to say, I will listen and I will respond. I'll probably do a reaction video or something on KOGaming about something about it. But until that happens, I'm not going to waste my time with pointless speculation. We can fucking sit here and speculate for hours and it won't matter because we're not Nintendo. We don't work for Nintendo. You know what I mean? I like to be a reactionary commentator. If something happens and I have something in response to say or a feeling about it, I'll tell you. I'm not going to sit here and just, it could be this, 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 it could be this. It's fluff. It's a waste of time. And for me to do that, complete waste of your fucking time. And I know people love that shit on YouTube, but I don't waste it. So I'm not going to sit here and speculate on the NX. I hope that Nintendo can make a console that people want, and it's not going to be a paperweight and or a thing just to play first-party titles on. Do I have confidence in it? No. When still to this day and age, their focus is still fucking amiibos. No, I have no confidence, but we'll see what happens, all right? All right, a few more questions. All these questions are from social media coming up. From Dean Jones, he says, Phil, do you plan on getting the back surgery that you talked about back in Connecticut now that you moved? You know, from time to time, people ask me this question. Phil, how's your back doing? Phil, do you need the back surgery? Some of you watching right now might literally have no idea what this question means because, let's face it, I haven't really talked about my back much at all for about a year and a half to 2 years now. It's really not been an issue of concern for me, but it used to be. So let me explain. When I lived in Connecticut, I, unfortunately, around the years of 2007, 2008, started getting really bad pain in my back and my legs, numbness in my legs, major issue. Now, I was a lot heavier back then, too. You know, I was good 240 pounds. I was fat as shit. Went to the doctor. Doctor said, oh, my God, like, this is pretty bad. They gave me an MRI, and MRI showed a severely herniated disc in my lower back. The doctor literally told me, he says, if you didn't come in here today and we found this out and you made life adjustments, this disc was going to rupture and you were going to need major surgery and you might not even walk properly for the rest of your life. I was like, wow, I'm glad that I got checked out then. So I had some options. At the time, it was either back surgery right away, physical therapy, or just making life adjustments, okay? So for me, at the time, with the finances that this was before YouTube, the financial situation that I had and all the options that I had, I didn't want to do the surgery because back then they didn't have laser surgery for backs. It was just a fusion, spinal fusion. Now, I've known people who got this surgery. Some people it's been incredibly successful, and some people their problems have actually gotten worse. It's kind of almost a 50-50 shot when you get the spinal fusion surgery on how well it's going to go, all right? So I didn't even want to consider surgery at the time. That would be like last case scenario. So at the time, I did 2 months of physical therapy. And after the 2 months, I really didn't feel the physical therapy was helping me. And it was very fucking expensive. So I stopped doing it. And I said, I'm going to make life adjustments. First things first, I'm going to try to lose weight. Number two, I'm going to try to stop doing things that are strenuous on my back, which means physical activity like any kind of sports, lifting heavy objects, doing extended walks and or being on my feet for extended periods of time. And I'll be honest, it took a few years, from the years of 2008 to about the years of probably late 2012 into maybe all of 2013. It took a long time for my life to adjust, but once it did, I lost like some 30 plus pounds, which was a great, release of strain on my back. I stopped doing the strenuous. I don't drive on the highway anymore, which is a huge back strain. Don't do that anymore. I stopped lifting heavy objects, And let's face it, I moved across the country. I now live in a part of the country where I don't need to drive long distances. I don't have to shovel fucking snow because we don't get it. So for the past year and a half, 2 years, the things that were stressful to my back don't exist anymore. And I feel incredibly healthy compared to how I used to feel back in Connecticut. I really do. I'm eating better now, much fucking better. Oh my God. The meals now that right now Leanna is making me delicious roasted pork loin, mixed greens, and I think like crescent rolls. In Connecticut, When it was dinner time, I would go out to the fast food and get a burger or a grilled chicken sandwich, fast food every day. That's how I ate, because I didn't cook for myself because I was one person. Cooking is a waste of time. And back then, I used to do so much raw gameplay. I gotta hurry because I gotta get back to stream. I gotta play more games, right? So my life is so much healthier and different now than it used to be. I'm incredibly grateful for that. Quite honestly, do I still have back pain? Yes. There's a few times. Number one, if I'm on my feet for extended periods of time. So Saturdays in particular, I go out with Leanna. We go out to dinner. We maybe walk around, do some shopping. We go out and do grocery shopping. When I come home on Saturdays and I'm bringing in grocery bags, typically my back hurts. And I lay down for like a half an hour. It feels fine after that. And I don't really have the back pain anymore. I don't have the numbness. That was the big thing. I used to get numbness in my legs and in my toes. Gone. The numbness is gone. The sharp shooting pains I used to get are gone. I get the feeling that my life adjustments have basically, maybe it didn't 100% fix the disc, but I'm not stressing the disc anymore. So I guarantee you the swelling or whatever has gone down, and I'm good at this point. So no, at this point in my life, I'm not even considering the back surgery because my back really isn't an issue. Now here's the thing, if it got worse, let's say I fell and my back got fucked up. Surgery now is much better. It's laser surgery. It's not even intrusive anymore. It's actually considered outpatient surgery, meaning they could bring me to the hospital, zoop, get it done, and I'll be out the next day, if not even earlier. And apparently my back would be better, which is crazy to think because it was such a big, intrusive, dangerous thing in 2007 and 8. And now here we are, 8 years later, and fucking technology's advanced so much, it's like, zoop, you're done. So the good news is, I don't think my back's a concern anymore. And that's a positive thing, right? Next question is from Tracy Pham. What is your opinion on The Division? Good, timely question. Because people have been asking me recently, Phil, are you going to play The Division? And if you don't know, this weekend, The Division's open beta is available. As of right now, I think, not open beta, excuse me, it's a closed beta for those who pre-ordered the game. And a lot of people are saying, are you going to play this beta? I'm going to be honest with everyone. When I first saw trailers for The Division some 4 years ago at E3, the game looked good. As of now, the stuff that I've seen for the game, I'm not even remotely impressed nor interested. It seems like it's going to be a third-person MMO shooter with looting mechanics and repetitive gameplay. It seems to me like there's not any kind of a real major narrative here. It's going to be one of the Destiny, only it's a third-person shooter game that's more of a realistic thing. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not interested in it. After all the things, the ways this game has evolved over the years, now that I see the product, it seems like it's watered down compared to what they originally said it was going to be. It seems like it's one of these games, as we've talked about earlier, microtransactions out the wazoo, grind the shit out of this repetitive gameplay out the wazoo to hopefully get some rare loot or some shit. I don't care about that stuff. Yes, there's a market for it. I'm not that market. I don't think I'm going to be checking out The Division. And am I going to be playing the beta? No, because I didn't pre-order it. I didn't pre-order The Division. Because after all the shit that I saw, I wasn't impressed. And yeah, I'm aware that it is one of the major releases for March. I think I'm going to be focusing on Twilight Princess, and I'll be focusing on Hitman when it comes out, and I'll probably still be playing games like Street Fighter 5 and maybe Far Cry Primal, and probably some Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. And I think The Division is going to ultimately be a skippable game, and no one's going to miss out on anything. That's my opinion on The Division right now. All right, only 3 more questions. Next one's from Joseph Seniza. Excuse me, I probably mispronounced that. Hey, when you were in high school or your mid-20s, did you ever think about joining the military? Yes, and I've told this story before, but I'll very briefly tell it again. When I was in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know if I wanted to go to college, if I wanted to go to the military. Now, my dad was a Marine, and I had considered going to join the Marines, and or just the military in general. So I went to the local recruitment board or whatever, and they did an interview with me. Based off of the responses to my interview, they thought that I was a top candidate to be an officer. Okay, now they didn't promise anything. Obviously, you got to go through basic training, but they were like, listen, you're very smart. You're high ranked in your school. You're on track to go to a nice college. But if you go to the military, you'll be an officer. You won't see the front lines if you ever do get deployed, yada, yada, yada. And basically, they pumped up the military for me and said that this is going to be a great thing for you. So I remember after doing this interview, I was like, okay, this could be viable. And here's what happened. I swear to God, this is what happened. This is 100% true. I was about to leave, and as I was about to leave from the interview, the guy who interviewed me said, so what do you think, honestly? And I said, well, I'll be honest with you. A lot of what you said to me sounds attractive, but I do want to weigh and balance my other options too. And, there's a possibility that I'll be back, but, I'm going to be straight with you. I'm not 100% sold, but I liked what I heard today. The guy was such a cocky fucker. Here's what he said to me. He said, "That's okay. I know you'll be back. We'll see you soon." And the second he fucking said that to me, I immediately was turned off from going back. And I never did. Because the bottom line is, when you're so... There's one thing. Confidence is one thing. That was cocky, egotistical bullshit. And what I could tell is that in his head, they had ingrained that military shit. Oh, it's the best thing ever, and loyalty to your country, and herpa-derpa fucking derp. The stuff that people fall for, that lack of independent thought, that he thought the military was such the best thing, and because I had, they'd done such a good job at selling the military, there was no way in hell that I wouldn't come back. And he said it in such a cocky fucking way that immediately I said, there's no fucking way I would ever go back and be a part of that. And I never did. And since that day, I never considered being in the military, period. And let's face it, with all the shit that happened after that, 9/11, being deployed out in fucking Afghanistan and Iraq, and I probably would be dead. I'm just saying, I'll be quite honest, I'd probably be dead. And I'm happy that I didn't make that decision with my life. And now, by no means am I saying that the military is a bad thing. By no means am I saying that people who are loyal to their country, or that they're brave and they do that shit in the military, that it's the wrong thing to do. And yes, there absolutely needs to be people who are going to stand up and defend our country and our freedoms and our rights. And I actually strongly respect someone who sacrifices their life and their freedom and their well-being to be in the military, to let a place like the United States of America exist. But let's face it, the past 15 years, our military was massively misused for shit that I don't agree with. And I'm very happy that I made the decision that I did, because I don't even know if I would be here if I had joined the military at that time. Real talk. All right. Next question. This one is from General Pringle. He says, will you play The Witness? If you don't know, The Witness is a game. I believe it's from the game developer who made Braid. It's a puzzle-based game. I don't know too much else about it besides that. I guess there's kind of a mystery element to it or something. And it came out this week. But the bottom line is this. I was sick this month. It sent me back 5 days of work when I was going to be playing Undertale. And because of that, I'm now playing Undertale. And it seems to me that people want me to keep playing Undertale. I'm now doing a second run where I'm doing a pacifist run. And I don't know how long The Witness is. Typically, when I play puzzle-based games, people don't get too excited. Even games that I really like the Talos Principle, people don't get too excited. And they don't really come out to watch them. So it makes me very apprehensive about playing The Witness. Even though it has massive positive feedback, I don't know if me playing it would really kind of hold any interest, quite honestly. Early on, when I heard about The Witness, I was interested in it. But it seems to me that at least the people now seem to be saying they want me to play more Undertale over a game like The Witness. So that's the route I'm going. If you disagree with me, please feel free to let me know. All right? But right now, it seems like everyone wants to see me do this pacifist run in Undertale. So that's what I'm kind of focusing on right now. Okay? And as you know, with all the new releases I even mentioned in these videos of Ask the King, there's not a lot of time coming up left for this kind of stuff. So unfortunately, it may end up being one of those games that goes under the radar for me. Last but not least, from P-Dog, longtime fan. He says, if you had played it earlier, do you think that you would have considered Undertale for a Game of the Year contender or placer for 2015? You know, it's a tough thing for me to say right now, because I've only done one playthrough of Undertale, and basically the game could be played 3 different ways. And right now I'm playing it the second way. Once I get through the second playthrough and maybe understand what the more of the third and final way would be, maybe then I can answer. But I'll be honest with you. It's an ingenious game. It's really well done, really well written. I love that the way that you play it can completely change your experience. Already I'm seeing big differences happening in the game from the first time that I played it. I'm loving the game. And yeah, I think that it does deserve a lot of recognition. It just sucks that the timing that it came out, that it was a game that I had never heard of before, and by the time that it was getting popular, I was already busy with a busy schedule. It is what it is. But yeah, I think that Undertale may have snuck into my top 10. Real talk, it's a great game, it's outstanding, and it definitely deserves people's time, especially if they like RPGs with a lot of options and originality and difference in the way you can play it. That's your game, man. All right, ladies and gents, that is it for Ask the King for January 2016. I surely hope that you enjoyed the show. If you would like to possibly get your question answered on next month's show, I pointed wrong again. Right there, patreon.com/darksidephil. Okay? If you want to post up your questions, the kingofhate.com forums, the thread already exists. So you can head over there and post up your questions for next month. Thank you for watching. Peace out, everyone. This next month's going to be crazy. This next month's going to be crazy busy, all right, with new games and everything. I hope that you'll check out this 3-channel model that I'm running. I hope that you'll check out Amazon Associate links in the description. I hope that you'll do all these things and that we can be very positive moving forward covering all these new games. It's going to be a great year. I got a good feeling, but ultimately it's not really in my hands. In my hands, I have to deliver on my promises, and then you have to check out the stuff. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Peace out. I'll see you next month for Ask the King. This is DSP signing off. See you later. Why am I whispering? I don't know.
Mail, motherfucker!
I clicked on the wrong thing. That's not what I was supposed to click.